2021 season and immediately became a steadying presence on the CSI backline. He played and started in 16 of 17 games for the Dolphins that year, and immediately became clear that the Dolphins had found a cornerstone player for their defense. The following season, he played in and started all 17 games for the Dolphins, recording his first career assist in the process. However, his impact on score sheet resonates more so with the many goals he has prevented with his defense. This season, he has once again started every game and is hoping to help the Dolphins clinch their first postseason appearance as Division II program today. Our senior, team captain, and number 17, Leandro Angulo. A word from head coach Alan Kuba: to see a young man transform into a leader over the few years we get to spend together is one of the true wins a college coach can experience. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to see this firsthand in Leo. Showed up as a quiet, talented, and eager young man, he is leading CSI as a confident, vocal, and assertive leader of men. He has a bright future ahead of him due to his relentless pursuit and desire to leave his legacy wherever he goes. We have been lucky here at CSI to have been able to work with him, but even luckier just knowing him as a human being. Thank you, Leandro, for your leadership and pride in being a Dolphin. One more round of applause for Leandro Angulo. Our final senior is a second five-year student athlete who joined the Dolphins in 2019 and quickly made an impact on the men's soccer program. In his freshman season, he registered 3 goals and an assist with over 1,000 minutes played. He then added 4 more points as a sophomore and set a career high in minutes across 14 games. Last season, he matched a career high in goals with 3 and set a new career high with 3 assists, once again playing over 1,000 minutes. He is poised to eclipse the 1,000-minute mark again this season and has scored another 8 points in 12 contests. His impact as a goal scorer and playmaker has been unmatched during his time with the program, and his presence will be difficult to replace. There are people that you enjoy watching play the game, and there are people that make you want to play the game because of how much fun they make it look. Danny's charisma on the field and the beauty in which he plays the game is incredibly infectious. He puts a smile on your face just by watching him play this beautiful game. What a pleasure it has been able to watch, coach, and share the field with Danny, who will without a doubt go down as one of the best center midfielders that CSI has ever had roaming the center of the park. He has all of the characteristics of a great coach, and anyone fortunate enough to work with him will forever be grateful. Thank you, Danny, for always reminding us that we are supposed to have fun playing this game and for sharing your love of this game with all of us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Our senior, team captain, number 7, Daniel Angulo. One more round of applause for Daniel Angulo and all of our 2023 men's soccer senior class. We thank our officials at Molloy University for their patience during our Senior Day presentation. At this time, we will give the teams a few moments to get prepared for the playing of the national anthem and the introduction of starting lineups ahead of today's East Coast Conference men's soccer matchup.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Cobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast. Everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
From Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet is proud to welcome you into NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage. In today's East Coast Conference matchup, the College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Molloy University Lions. Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, my name is Joe Foreman, alongside my broadcast partner, Aaron Cohen. And Aaron, it's simple for men's soccer. Just as it was for the women earlier today, it is a must-win for this CSI men's soccer team. They will need some help, but a win could propel them into the final East Coast Conference playoff spot.
It's true. They are tied on points with Damon, so they need Damon to not win this game because Damon has the tiebreaker in the head-to-head matchup. Unfortunately, they lost that game. It was their first conference game of the season. But given that Damon does not beat Mercy, who are pretty high up in the standings, it is in the Dolphins' hands. If they are able to beat Molloy, they would put themselves in a playoff spot, and they wouldn't bring playoffs to this home field, but they would get that berth, and it would be a huge boost to this team in what has been a surge of a season for the Dolphins men.
CSI men's soccer face of the must-win, as we mentioned before, and as Aaron touched on, they need some help, and they need that help from the opponent of Damon University, and today that is Mercy University. So the Dolphins will hope that the Mavericks can come away with a win and give them the help they need. But first, the national anthem will be played, and we'll be right back on the McDonald's pregame show.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
I was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with underprivileged people and just seeing that they want the basic things that people get out of life. And if I can help in any way, that just kind of warms my heart. That's why I want to be a doctor, to serve those who have been dealt a bad hand. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. It was just because I bought into myself, because someone bought into me. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we are back from Dolphins Soccer Park. Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside Aaron Cohen with kickoff of today's East Coast Conference men's soccer matchup between the College of Staten Island and Molloy University. Both of these teams right now have their season hanging in the balance with this game, though there is some margin for error if you're Molloy, perhaps a bit less margin for error if Damon University upsets Mercy University. That game kicks off at 2:30 p.m. To break it down as simply as I can, to make the postseason, the Dolphins must win. We spoke about that already. Also, Damon must lose or draw in their game against Mercy. For Molloy, it's a bit more complicated. If Damon loses, Molloy can't afford to draw. If Damon wins, Molloy must win, and Molloy won't know what's going on in that game between Damon and Mercy for another half hour at the very least. So Molloy can't afford to sit back and play for a draw. At the very least, they have to come out with energy, come out strong, and hopefully if you're the Lions, put an early goal on the board and perhaps put this game to bed early. The Dolphins, of course, don't want to see that happen. And in just a few moments, they will kick off what is a must-win game on their home turf, playoff positioning on the line.
Very well put, Joe. This is it. This is the 90 minutes that defines your season. What are the Dolphins men going to make of their story?
Dolphins led onto the pitch today by seniors Daniel Angulo, Leandro Angulo, Jamali Peterson. Also honored as part of our Senior Day presentation. He is not in the starting lineup, but we do expect to see him take the pitch later in this game. He's been utilized off the bench for much of the 2023 season. Men's soccer didn't register their first conference victory until very late in the season when they defeated Deauville. Dolphins played UDC to a draw, and if that game goes the other way and the Dolphins are able to hold on to either of their one-goal leads, we're having a very different conversation today with CSI then leading Molloy in the standings by a point. That changes everything. But as of now, the Dolphins need to win, and they're keeping a close eye on that game between Damon and Mercy.
In my conversation with Coach Alex Kuba before the game started, he mentioned that there have been a lot of good performances from this team, but it's just been putting together a good 70 or 80 minutes, and they've yet to put together a good 90 minutes. And that can be the difference between making the playoffs and missing the playoffs. And he's well aware of that. They're looking to put together their first really good full 90 minutes to come away with a result today.
Get you the starting lineups as we go as well. We'll start with Molloy University. In goal will be number 1, Dennis Mejia. Andy Blanco. Number 2 is a senior. He's also in the starting lineup. Nikolai Kutsop in the starting lineup. Number 6, Ollie Murch in the starting lineup, along with number 11, Wilmer Flores. Number 15, Joey Giordano. Number 17, Edwin Castellon. Number 18, Matt Starr. Number 19, Jonas Jacobson. Number 20, Steph Maurice. And number 28, Nick Leon. Starters for the Dolphins, Michael Garcia, Luis Asensio Cueva, Franklin Sheehu, Miguel Espinoza, Daniel Angulo, Brian Curliu, Raul Naranjo, Leandro Angulo, William Lopez, Stephen Flores, and Amari Thompson.
Naranjo back healthy and in the starting lineup after missing a few games due to injury. Dolphins are definitely happy to have him on the field again. Hopefully he doesn't have to come off. Last couple times he has been on the field, his injuries come back to bite him a little bit, so fingers crossed for him there. Another player I want to highlight, Coach Kubo was quick to give praise to number 19, William Lopez, the work he's been doing in the midfield. We know about Daniel Angulo and Brian Curley and what they're able to contribute, but Coach Kuba gives credit to Lopez for providing stability and allowing those other players to flourish.
Lopez has really emerged this season as a key newcomer for this Dolphins team among several. One of them, Miguel Espinoza, also in the starting lineup. Another with the ball right now, Michael Garcia. Garcia moved up the near side quickly. Now Espinoza with a quick turn, avoids a challenge, works into the box. Espinoza, left-footed shot, he scores! Miguel Espinoza puts the Dolphins ahead by a goal early. Aaron, you're loving that goal.
Oh, my goodness, Joe. What a play. You need to get a replay on that one. My goodness. My goodness. I mean, pure talent, pure skill from Espinoza. He has been growing and growing this season, and that is the culmination of everything we've been witnessing on the field for the Dolphins. Pinpoint dribbling, amazing maneuvering around defenders in tight spaces. He had no right to get a shot off in that situation. And when he did, he made it count, Joe. He found that corner so convincingly, and what a start for the Dolphins. Not only does that put them in a great position just with the lead, but it provides them with that energy boost, that confidence that they need to push on and maintain their control over this game. What a start.
When Espinoza gets the ball on his foot down around the penalty area, he is a menace. Quick turn off the feed from Garcia. He dribbled his way through heavy traffic, worked through a challenge, and somehow was able to navigate his way through 2 Molloy defenders. And you said it, Aaron, he picked the corner beautifully on that shot. You can't do it much better than that. And Espinoza has put the Dolphins ahead by a goal. It's 1-0, less than 5 minutes into this first half. The Dolphins could not have asked for a better start.
I'll tell you what, regardless of the result of this game, I'm going to be watching that goal back on my way home from work today.
You won't be the only one. I think the viewership for this game drastically increases following that score. That's a can't-miss highlight from Miguel Espinoza and this Dolphins team. And not to be lost on that play, Garcia did a great job to work the ball up the sideline. He sprinted up the pitch quickly allowing Espinoza to trail that attacking play and put himself into a position to receive the pass and then make the move to score. Meanwhile, it's a corner kick for Staten Island now as they're knocking on the door once again. Angulo will take the corner. He plays it short to Naranjo and then crosses it in. Sheehu in pursuit. He contacted that ball high as foul was whistled against the Dolphins.
It's going to be a high foot, Joe. You're not supposed to get your foot up that high. It puts opponents in danger. It's unfortunate because that's where the ball was, but you got to play it with a different body part.
If there's ever a way to contact the ball safely in that spot, Sheehu found it. Got his toes on it, but as you said, too high. As Espinoza got a piece of that ball, but the Lions cleared away from him quickly. Curlew.
Something that Coach Kuba and I both agreed upon before the game started was that what the Dolphins really needed was that extra bit of quality. They've had those moments where players have shined. They've had those times where they put together a lot of good things, but they just haven't had that extra piece to really put the ball in the back of the net and make things happen and get those end results that culminate from the hard work. What we've just seen is exactly that. Great work from Espinoza.
Becomes much easier when you lift that weight of the burden that comes with needing to score less than 5 minutes into the match. As that was sent toward the near post, that ball was curving back toward the field of play.
Linesman's telling them that the ball went out on that cross. Center ref didn't see it until just now.
Off the foot, I did think that ball traveled out of play, but it curved back into the field of play. Long ball up the pitch and into the attacking third from Molloy, but several Dolphins were there, and one of those Dolphins, Sheehu, commits a foul. Free kick, Molloy.
Opportunity now for Molloy to make something happen, potentially get a quick response. Obviously, anytime you concede, you want to try and get right back into it, but especially when you concede an early goal, it can be super important to press really hard for the next 5-10 minutes just to lift the spirits of your squad.
Something else to keep an eye on in this game, Dolphins' ability to play with the lead. They were not able to protect the lead in their last game against UDC, last game here at home, that is.
Defense has been an issue for the Dolphins. They've gone 6 straight games without a clean sheet. They've only got 2 all season.
Dolphins historically and this season have been a very good home team. That's something else to keep in mind entering this matchup. Angulo on the pass interception looking for Naranjo. Didn't get it to him. It was a nice job by Jacobson to clear that ball away quickly, but the Dolphins are right back at it on the attack. Espinoza for Angulo. He sends one in the air and straight into the arms of Mejia.
It was a nice idea, but it's a very difficult ball to play. That's the sort of thing you do, however, when you've got that lead and you've got that confidence. I think the adrenaline is still flowing through him a little bit.
Last time out here at Dolphin Soccer Park, Dolphins faced the University of the District of Columbia and surrendered a couple of one-goal leads. They were ahead 1-0 and 2-1. Those leads both got away.
That was really, really difficult for the Dolphins because at 1-1, they were facing a lot of pressure. They managed to squeak a goal due to a nice run and a deflected shot. And they were hoping to carry that lead out, but they conceded a penalty. It was a big blow.
That was a fantastic effort from Miguel Espinoza in that game as well. Dolphins here at home this year, 2-1-3. They would love to add one more to that win column here today.
Also of note, Molloy away record is 1-4-2. They've only got one away win all season. Ironically, it came at Damon. because of course it did.
Well, Damon was in a very similar spot to the Dolphins entering these final couple of weeks. They needed a pair of wins to have any shot at the playoffs. They got one in their last game against the Uville, much like the Dolphins did. And now they have a chance to make the postseason with a win. And you know that if the Wildcats are watching this game, they like this start because they can't afford to have Molloy win. If the Dolphins win, they can leapfrog the Dolphins. They cannot leapfrog the Lions. So you know that Damon, if they're checking in on this game, likes what they've seen so far.
It's true, but Damon has their own challenge they have to face with Mercy, who don't really stand to lose that much in this game. However, what I know about college soccer, especially conference play, is you want every single one of those games. So despite the fact that Mercy doesn't have a lot at stake, I predict them to compete and work just as hard as any other game, and Damon's going to have a difficult time getting a result there.
Dolphins certainly hope that is the case, as that's sent into the arms of Thompson, who needed to be sure-handed on that one. A long free kick ends up in his hands on the fly.
Having a good instance of a high ball early in a game can be really helpful for a goalkeeper building the confidence. He got that one under his belt, and that's going to empower him to come out more going forwards.
Foul whistled against Raul Naranjo. And it looked like one of the Lions may have sprained his ankle on that one. Matt Starr is down right now, grabbing at that right ankle.
He's in serious pain. They're going to call out the trainer, who it looks like we have a visiting trainer today, which is unusual. But I
There
hope
is
he's
an
all right.
epidemic right now of trainer shortage that is plaguing collegiate athletics, and in many cases that prevents visiting teams from traveling with an athletic trainer. Often hard to get coverage for a lot of games around collegiate athletics right now. And it certainly appears that a sprained ankle is what Matt Starr is facing at the moment. All indications pointed that way when he went down, but that's as far as we'll speculate. Trainer working on his right leg at the moment. Now, we cut to break last time we had an injury during the women's game. The moment we cut away, the action resumed. So we're going to be a bit more patient this time, as Starr is helped off the field.
Not a positive sign that he can't walk under his own power. I don't know if we're going to see him back in this game. Hopefully it's not serious, especially if Molloy do get an opportunity to advance into the playoffs. But he's not putting any weight on that.
When you have stoppages, whether it be for injury or anything else, on a day like today, I know up here in the booth we could use a water break. They won't get one down on the field. But nonetheless, when you have stoppages early in a game, and you have another game that has massive implications that's starting 30 minutes later, all of a sudden, the start time of the second game aligns closer and closer with where we are in this game. So that's something to keep in mind when you're scoreboard watching. And the teams today have no choice. They need to know what's going on in that game between Damon and Mercy. Specifically Molloy. The Dolphins know they have to win. Molloy maybe could afford a draw, but behind the goal early is not the position they want to be in.
I'm wondering if someone on the Dolphins sideline is going to be checking their phone for the scores, because a lot of time in D2 and D3 college sports, you're just not privy to those scores.
I get the sense they will not be looking. That's just my hunch. I think knowing that you have to win eliminates the scoreboard watching from the perspective of a player or a coach. As a fan, I know I'm watching at home with both games live streaming side by side. Of course, our game is the game that is unmuted. Of course. Can't have audio from two games going on. That nullifies any point as far as I'm concerned in that regard.
Quick tactical note on Molloy. They are playing, if you haven't noticed, viewers, a back three, which is not particularly usual, especially in college soccer. As we get some nice passing and a foul called in favor of the Dolphins, they'll get a chance for a free kick.
Lopez drew that whistle. Free kick Staten Island to be taken quickly by Angulo. Garcia looking for Curlew. He stumbles through some traffic. Curlew back to Garcia. He avoids a challenge. Garcia crosses. That was headed up in the air by Giordano. Espinoza tracks it down.
The thing about a back three, especially the way Molloy plays it, is that in defense off the ball, it looks like a back five, and it allows them to get a lot of numbers back there.
And that long shot bounced just wide, though Naranjo was making a run as well. He definitely had a chance to make contact. And it will be a goal kick for the Lions.
In possession, what they want to do with their back three is control the ball. Swing the ball back and forth, wait for their moment to attack, but they're not afraid to play it forwards because number 20, Steph Maurice, can cause problems. He's got pace, he's got power, and if there's a bouncing ball, he's going to be giving the center backs a hard time.
Lions forced to retreat up the far sideline back into their own end. They now work it east to west as that attempted pass was stonewalled by Naranjo. Our daily reminder not to park along the fence. That ball left some velocity behind it. People think I'm joking. I've seen shattered windshields from shots. Not even a clearance or a deflected pass. Shots wide of the netting behind goal and straight through the windshield.
Don't underestimate the power of a soccer ball. As someone who's taken several of them to the face, they can be dangerous.
I'm certainly not getting in the way of any shots like you, Aaron. I'll leave the goalkeeping to you. I'm not even sure I could put one on goal. You won't have to worry about me.
You could do it if you were close enough.
I thought so, too, until I tried. But I have to admit, I had to try and demonstrate some of my power. Didn't really try and finesse it. So, there's that. Throw-in coming up here for the Lions. Just over 15 minutes gone by in this first half. Dolphins lead it 1-0. That early goal for the Dolphins, our only shot on goal thus far. Not many opportunities for either side since, but that may change here as Lopez wanted to play Naranjo through, couldn't get it to him. Curlew. Onto the foot of Naranjo. He looks to turn. Instead, finds a streaking Daniel Angulo. No whistle. Goal kick Molloy.
Well, the thing about the back three strategy that Molloy are employing is if they get caught in possession, there's a lot of space for the Dolphins to attack. And that's exactly what happened there. Really good job by Naranjo to turn in the box and find Angulo. Angulo trying to anticipate the contact. Went down a little soft, and the ref was privy to that. Might have been better off trying to get a more solid foot on the shot there was Angulo. Nevertheless, no result from that chance.
That was a great setup by Naranjo. When that ball was on its way to Angulo, I thought we were headed for a 2-0 score.
It's definitely looking up for the Dolphins when they get in the attacking third.
And the Dolphins give it away. That time it was Thompson. That shot blocked. Second attempt saved. Steph Maurice, you mentioned it before, Aaron. He had a chance there to level the score, but Thompson was ready following his giveaway.
Well, Steph Maurice did find himself in a good spot, but it really wasn't even his own doing. Mostly It was Amari Thompson's doing, and he'll be really thankful that that shot was central like it was, because he would have been mostly at fault for relinquishing the early lead.
Dolphins survive an early mistake. Thompson makes the big save, and we remain in a 1-0 match with about 28 minutes to go in this first half, just shy of that mark. Dolphins look to regroup here, but Asensio Cuevas being pressured by Blanco, and Thompson easily scoops that one up.
I talked with Coach Kuba a lot about defensive alignment, trying to really understand why the two starting center backs for most of the season, who were Asensio Cueva and Leandro Angulo, are no longer there. And he really said that they were never meant to be the starting center backs. Asensio Cueva is naturally an outside back. Leandro Angulo is naturally a defensive mid. And he always wanted the defensive pairing to be Flores and Shehu from the start. And now that they're both healthy, that's where they are. But it just means that you have two players that are in positions they haven't been playing all season, so they're trying to get used to playing in those positions. Asensio Cueva trying to get used to being a wingback again.
Leon and Naranjo both went down. It looked like Naranjo may have had his leg rolled up on. And you always have to watch out for ankle injuries in that spot. But both players are up and okay.
Looks like everyone's okay.
Had a brief technical issue there. Had to get that sorted out. We apologize for the brief silence. As the Lions move into the attacking third now, looking to level the score. Maurice plays it back toward midfield. Murch. Now Jacobson. Redirected by Blanco in the direction of Castellon, but the Dolphins take it back, and that's a hard challenge, and that will draw a yellow card on Edwin Castellon.
I love the support we have here from the Dolphins baseball team. They showed up for the men's soccer team in their most important game of the season, and they're loud.
CSI Baseball, if I'm not mistaken, held their prospect camp today. So they were down at the ball field during the women's game. Men's basketball had an early morning scrimmage. They are now here as well. So the Dolphins getting a big boost in the level of support during this match. And, of course, women's soccer in the stands as well, following their game earlier. So a lot of student athletes in the house. And I think it's fair to say the Dolphins certainly have a major home field advantage entering the second game.
I was going to say, even without the student athletes here, this is clearly the largest attendance we've had for a game. And perfect environment for it.
CSI supporters definitely knowing what's at stake today. Shehu up the far side. He was taken down. Molloy does not like that whistle from the official.
That incident was all the way across the field, but at least from our vantage point, I understand why they were frustrated. It kind of seemed like Shehu just lunged for the ball and fell because of that.
Flores to Garcia. Back to Flores. Flores fending off a challenge from Leon. Flores working toward the touchline. Receives a shove. And they're going to award Molloy a goal kick there.
Well, not often do you see the center back run that far forwards and try and shield the ball in the corner. Just lost control of it right near the end line.
Goal kick Lions sent a long way out beyond midfield. Headed toward Maurice, but Maurice is down. And it's on the foot of Thompson now. Thompson.
If Maurice can just get some runners around him for the Molloy attack, it's going to be an issue because he's physical and he can get up and win those headers. Like in that very instance, if someone had just been running beyond, would have been a big problem for the Dolphins' defense.
Thompson whiffed on that attempted punt, and the Dolphins clear it over the near side. Well, Aaron, we do have a final in Flushing, and it would not have mattered if the Dolphins won. Queens picked up the win over Dieuville, so Queens will hold on to their playoff spot and pick up a win on the final day of the regular season. They knock off the Dieuville University Saints, who have to travel all the way from Buffalo. So if I'm not mistaken, the women's bracket is now completely set. I'm not sure if there's any potential for movement in terms of seeding, but in terms of the teams, we're all set on the women's side of the East Coast Conference playoffs. Molloy corner kick upcoming. Still plenty to be decided here at Dolphin Soccer Park. That's headed in the air by Molloy off the corner, and the Dolphins are content to clear that into their own bench.
I don't think that Queens result will be a source of comfort for the Dolphins. I still feel like they'll be disappointed. And despite the playoff implications, I think they would have wanted a win to end their season and to commemorate their seniors and what they've done.
No doubt the Dolphins would have loved to win this game on senior day. But the men have a chance to send the CSI supporters home happy and perhaps send themselves into the playoffs. Angulo switches it toward the far side for Daniel Angulo. And he had it knocked away from him.
There's some really interesting symmetry, Joe, between the men's and women's teams in Daniel Angulo and Adriana Melger, both players who were playing at the base of midfield for a lot of season and have now started to take up more space on the left wing. It's very interesting.
For Angulo, Daniel, that is, and Leandro, for each of them, it is their last home match of their collegiate careers. The Dolphins will not have an opportunity to host in the playoffs should they qualify. Each of them such big parts of the men's soccer program since joining back in 2021. Angulo wanted Garcia, and there was a lot on that ball, but there had to be in order to give Garcia a chance on that backdoor run.
If anything's evident about Leandro Angulo's game, it's that his technique on his passing is so clean. The way he strikes the ball, that low sort of daisy cutter is what they call it type pass, where it skims along the turf. It's very nice.
And you mentioned something as well that we'd seen Leandro play a lot of center back throughout the season. I got so used to seeing him there that I almost forgot that he is a natural midfielder, and he's getting a chance to show off more of that passing prowess moving up into that position.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, when you play one position for so many games, even if it's not your preferred one, you get used to how that works. And so he's just needed a little bit of time to grow back into his center defensive midfield form.
Perhaps something brewing here for the Dolphins as Naranjo works toward the far side. Curley overlaps behind Angulo and then receives the pass. Right back to Angulo. Curlew for Angulo again. And that ball was cleared over the far side, last touched by a Dolphin. Throw in from Molloy, taken quickly.
Dolphins got a little stuck there. They really needed to switch the field, but they couldn't get out.
Lopez for Garcia. Garcia had a defender closing in. Matthew Broadhead sprinting up behind him, and he got rid of the ball as the Dolphins work it all the way to the left sideline. Asensio Cueva for Curlew. And Curlew and Angulo weren't on the same page there.
Regardless of that individual play, what I'm loving is that they really need to win, but they're not settling for a 1-0 lead. They're not content with that. They want to keep pushing and keep putting Molloy on the back foot, and I think that's the right thing to do. You don't want to invite all that pressure, especially so early on into the game. And when you're seeing success in attack, why not keep trying?
I think you're absolutely right about that. And even if they wanted to play more defensively, it's far too early. I think if you go ahead 2 goals, that mindset changes a bit. Certainly it changes if you reach the half leading by 2 goals. I don't think there's any question about it.
Totally.
But I think for the first 45 minutes, we'll see the Dolphins keep up this pressure. And as you've said, Aaron, it's worked out really well for them.
They've proven that they can find holes in Molloy's defense. And everyone always says, the cliche, the best defense is offense.
Throw in for the Lions. And once again, they're forced to retreat back toward their own end. Dolphins not making anything easy.
it's not a super intense high press, but it's just not allowing those center backs to be comfortable on the ball. It's changing the way Molloy is playing.
Molloy, meanwhile, awarded a free kick just beyond midfield. Just over 18 minutes to go. Of course, 18 minutes to go before halftime, that is, as we're trying to get an update from Dobbs Ferry. We're awaiting that at the moment. Checking in on my phone. That game was scheduled to start at 2:30. I'm not sure they've gotten underway yet.
That was 2 poor deliveries in a row from number 28, Nick Leon. Did not make the most of those opportunities he had.
Garcia trying to angle himself under this ball, but it ends up on the foot of Laya Vittel. But the Dolphins ultimately came away with it. Lopez went down. And they are moments away from kickoff in Dobbs Ferry as we speak. They're introducing the starting lineup. So that game will get underway in just a few moments. I'll have a live video stream in front of me the rest of the way. We'll share any updates with everyone watching here on CSI Sportsnet. Of course, you can check out the other game via live stream on the ECC network. That stream available as well. That ball sent well beyond midfield. And now the Lions, once again, look to make something happen on the attack. But Shehu dispossesses Laya Vittel. That ball a bit off the mark. Perhaps the Lions got a piece of it as well. Shehu looking for Espinoza.
One of the nice things about Angulo having played so much center back is that if one of the current center backs wants to roam forwards, Angulo is really comfortable sliding in and covering for them while they do that.
Michael Garcia will throw. And Curley, who could not redirect that one back into the field of play. Molloy will throw in once again. Leon will throw in. Laya Vittel working toward the center of the pitch. Blue jerseys all around him. Back to Leon. Dobson. For Kuzop. Kuzop up the far side. Finds Diago Ferreira. A lot of substitutes into the game for Molloy early in this one. Once again, the Dolphins immediately sending the ball back toward the Molloy goal. The Lions have not spent much time at the other end of the pitch.
They're trying to change things up, Joe. Coach Kuba made it clear to me that the Lions are very set up tactically, and they know how to make changes.
Well, here comes Matthew Broadhead. His shot was blocked. Garcia tried to clear, and then Shehu comes up with another big shot block as that ball traveled a mile high out of play. Corner kick coming up from Molloy.
That was an anxious moment there.
Sure was. If you're a fan of the Dolphins, that is.
Garcia knows, though. Every defender knows when you clear, you got to get the ball high and wide, and that clearance was not high, and he almost paid for that mistake.
Corner kick for Molloy, sent toward the back post, and I think Leandro Angulo got a piece of it for CSI. Daniel Angulo in there as well, and that is cleared and rolling for the corner flag, but just in the field of play for a throw-in.
Smart by Daniel Angulo to just get the ball out instead of trying to contort his body to get it up the field. Sometimes you just got to swing at it.
Throw taken quickly by the Lions. Jacobson had it knocked away, and he is dispossessed. Here comes Espinoza. Espinoza for Angulo. That plays him wide toward the far sideline, and a bit too wide as he couldn't get there.
That could have been a real break for the Dolphins. It's a shame that it broke down kind of before it could even start.
Each team has been limited to just one shot on goal, both sides with 2 corner kicks, the Dolphins with the lone score. Laya Vittel. Back to Jacobson. Jacobson for Dobson. And Dobson took a shot from Leandro Angulo as those two came together over the ball. Big collision.
He did get the ball in that tackle, Angulo, but there was probably a little too much body-to-body contact on the follow-through.
Well, the head referee could not believe Leandro's protest. Dobson for Leon in the corner. And that's sent into the arms of Thompson. Just under 12 and a half minutes to play in the first half. Dolphins still lead at 1-0. Thompson trying to decide where to go with it. And he finally sends it across midfield right onto the head of Jacobson. Lopez has it. Lopez for Garcia. Garcia pivots, works toward the center of the pitch. Lopez. Nice job there to avoid the challenge by Gervasi, but the Lions ultimately are awarded a throw.
Lopez did not agree with that. Linesman felt pretty sure that the ball went over, but in those moments as a player, you go to the linesman and you say, it's got to go all the way over, linesman. It's got to go all the way over.
We need the shotgun mic pointed toward the sideline. Maybe one day. Quick turn by Leon. Nicely done. Dobson sends one toward the opposite corner of the box. Ferreira, working against 2 Dolphins, is dispossessed by Angulo. Angulo is pushed from behind, and he went down, and that's going to draw a yellow card as that ball was launched straight at the Dolphins bench. And that's a dangerous play if someone's not expecting it. That wasn't a clearance. That was a frustration kick.
I was about to break down how masterful it was from Daniel Angulo because he was bringing the ball forwards. He did not have a lot of options, didn't have the numbers, and he knew exactly what he was doing. He's the master at firstly drawing the contact and getting the foul call, which the ref played into beautifully. But not only that, he drew the frustration from, didn't catch the number of the Molloy player, but you get frustrated. You know the player was looking for the foul call and he gets it. Kick the ball away because you're annoyed. That's a textbook yellow card.
Well, during our senior day presentation, we shared some words from head coach Alex Kuba about each of his 3 graduating seniors. And he talked about how fun it is to watch Danny Angulo play and how fun he makes it appear playing the game of soccer is for him. And I think it's fair to say that I've never seen a player who draws whistles more gracefully than Daniel. When he goes down, he makes it look clean. He gets right up every time, but he gets those whistles.
It's impressive because there are certain instances where you're unsure. Like that, to me, at least from my perspective up here in the booth, seemed pretty clear that he was looking for the contact and went down expecting the foul call. But the ref's giving it to him, and when the ref gives it to you, you just keep doing it.
Dolphins make a change. Alex Morris in for Raul Naranjo. Fortune Uzo in as well. He attempted that cross. Espinosa lost the ball, but Morris finds it. Heel kick. Angulo's shot is wide.
Well done by Morris, recognizing he wouldn't be able to create his own shot. Instead, set up Daniel Angulo, who scored a couple from outside the box this season. Quickly want to mention Fortune Uzo. I've been pretty vocal on the effect I think he can have on the Dolphins' attack, so hopefully he can get opportunities to take advantage of his pace.
Under 10 minutes to play in this first half. You have to think the players coming off the Dolphins bench right now, fresh legs, under 10 minutes to play before halftime, are going to do everything they can to try and make this a 2-goal game. Shehu was pushed there. No foul called. It's a goal kick from Molloy. Shehu's still down.
Franklin Shehu was not 100% healthy coming into this game, Joe. Carrying a little bit of an injury, but Coach Kuba said they felt like he was good enough to at least play 45. Being pushed down like that, not helpful.
And I have to believe that was out of frustration as well. The attacker boxed out, unable to get to the ball, and right before it rolled over the touchline, there was definitely a shove to Shehu. He certainly believed so, signaling to the official that there should have been a whistle there. I'm inclined to agree with him.
The center ref just had a conversation with the linesman on the far side. If I had to guess, they were talking about the intent of that foul and whether or not it was worthy of further cautioning. They decided against.
Ball headed several times in the midfield, but it harmlessly rolls over the far side, and the Dolphins will throw. Under 9 minutes to go in the first half, and we are just seconds away from kickoff in the game between Damon and Mercy as well. So what we'll do during halftime, when we come back from our commercial block, we'll throw up the score of that game on your screen. And then when we come back, we'll have the second half of this game between the Dolphins and the Lions. And we took a look at the ECC standings yesterday. And if I'm not mistaken, the likely opponent for the Dolphins, if they were to win this game, would be Mercy. On the women's side, I think it was Queens. Though they were trying to leapfrog Queens. It might have been the other way around. The men's likely opponent may have been Mercy, and the women's, or might have been Queens, and the women's likely opponent may have been Mercy. I'd have to double check that. But we took a look at the standings yesterday and figured the most likely opponent for each team should they win. I doubt the women would have faced Mercy because they were trying to leapfrog them, or faced Queens. The women would have faced Mercy. The men would most likely face Queens, if I'm not mistaken.
We will double-check that during halftime and give you the accurate information at the beginning of the second half to give a more clear playoff picture. But regardless, if the Dolphins make it in, they're going to be squeaking in at the bottom.
I think it goes without saying that the breakdown I just gave certainly was not clear. So we'll try again when we come back from halftime. And they are underway in Dobbs Ferry. They just kicked off in that game between the Mavericks and the Wildcats. We have just under 7 minutes to go in the first half here at Dolphin Soccer Park. This is Curlew. And Mejia will bring that ball in before it rolls over the touchline. And he will send it ahead to Jonas Jacobson.
Molloy really struggling to build out of the back. Usually their first method of attack is to try and pass through the opposing team, keep the ball on the ground and play, but that option has not been available to them so far this game. So they've been lumping it forwards.
That ball comes to rest on the foot of Uzo. Up ahead to Espinosa. Espinosa for Angulo. Angulo for Morris. That ball rolls over the touchline as Angulo went down. And a yellow card has been issued. I think the official pointed in the direction of Nick Leon.
Yellow card for Leon there. Just another instance of a foul drawn by Angulo. I don't think we track those sort of in-depth stats at Division II soccer, but if we did, I feel like Angulo would be among the leaders in the nation of fouls drawn.
Morris tried to play that with the heel off the free kick, and he nearly redirected it straight onto the foot of Fortune Uzo. Fortunately for Molloy, it rolls harmlessly into the arms of their goalkeeper. And not to be lost in this game is the fact that Molloy needs this win just as badly as the Dolphins, perhaps, They certainly need a point. Cannot afford to lose. So as this game progresses, the pressure mounts on the visitors to get on the scoreboard at least once and then hope for a favorable result in the Mercy-Damon game.
If Damon loses to Mercy, Molloy still gets in. So Molloy still can get in with a loss.
The Dolphins would leapfrog them for 6th, no?
I believe.
I don't think they can get in, Aaron.
I may have. We'll have to double check.
I'm fairly certain they cannot get in.
Perhaps I misread the standings.
As Espinosa's shot is blocked, he may get a second chance. And he will not, as it rolls over the touchline. I think Molloy right now occupies the 6th and final spot. The Dolphins are in 7th. Damon is in 8th. And then Duville is in 9th. So if the Dolphins take over 6th, that would bump Molloy out at 7th. We got a great email from Casey Rafferty at the ECC breaking down all of the potential scenarios. Fortunately, I wasn't CC'd on it, but I had it forwarded to me by our Director of Athletics, Chase Licata. I got a chance to read that yesterday. It had a great detailed breakdown of every potential scenario for home field, every potential scenario for teams qualifying, and that's what we brought into the pregame today. We tried to simplify it. There was a lot more in that email than we shared during the pregame. We focused on the Dolphins and the Lions specifically. But there was a lot there. And it was sent earlier in the week, where there were some more conference games to be played. Angulo off the corner had it knocked over the near side. Inside of 4 minutes to go now in the first half. And once again, Angulo's down. He's favoring his leg right now, and you know the Dolphins hate to see that in any game, especially this one.
Looks like he will continue, thankfully, for Dolphins fans.
And he sends one toward the back post, where it's grabbed out of the air by Mejia. Here come the Lions into the midfield, but that one was misplayed by Laia Vittel, taken away by Curlew. Curlew looking to move in. Back to Uzo, and Uzo is forced to retreat a bit. Here comes Leandro Angulo. Angulo on goal and saved easily as a flag was up, and Angulo is down again. This time along the near side, non-contact. And it looked like he was trying to tough out whatever it was that was ailing him, but he was unable to do so and takes a seat back on the pitch. And it has gotten awfully quiet here at Dolphin Soccer Park as one of CSI's 3 seniors is down, seated on the pitch, and will be attended to by the trainer.
Would be a huge loss for the Dolphins if Angulo had to come off. He is such a vital part of this team, not only tactically but spiritually, the way he leads. So influential.
Chance of let's go Danny from some of the young supporters in attendance trying to help Will, the Dolphin senior, back to his feet. And he's still favoring that leg as he will limp his way off the field. Dolphins certainly hope to have him back at some point before this game comes to its conclusion. Hopefully for him, halftime can help him shake off the injury and get back out there. But there are some injuries that only get worse when you're off of them for a little while. The ankle's typically one of those. It doesn't appear that's the issue for Angulo, but we, of course, hope he's okay and gets the opportunity to complete this senior day match.
It presents a really unique problem for Coach Kuba to solve, Joe, because obviously you want him on the field at any opportunity you can, and he's the type of player that will try to push through anything to be able to help his team. But you're currently winning, and if this result holds, dependent on Damon, of course, but if this result holds, you're likely for a playoff spot, and you want Angulo there for the playoffs more than anything else. So a couple things for Kuba to consider.
Well, if Danny wants to come back in, how far are you willing to push him with a potential playoff matchup looming in the middle of next week? And the Lions were not able to keep that ball in along the sideline. We're under 3 minutes to go in this first half. The Dolphins still leading 1-0. The shot on goal tally for CSI now stands at 3. Molloy with just 1 shot on goal thus far. Corners 3-2 in favor of Staten Island. Brendan McGuire into the game for the Dolphins. He came on to replace Angulo, but Jamali Peterson also checked into the game as Uzo makes a nice move off that touch. And a strong tackle there to clear that ball away by Kuzop.
He is just electric, Uzo. He can just maneuver around players so quickly and effortlessly.
Morris on sides. Look to cross, and it's straight into the arms of Mejia. McGuire tried to direct it on goal via the volley and could not get a piece.
McGuire's a player to watch this game, Joe. In their last game against Uville, he had a brace. Nice pair of goals. Bolster his season resume, so he's probably feeling good right now.
Dobson got that one away to Cox, who gave it up. Now Gervasi had it taken away by Garcia. Lions will throw. Under 2 minutes to go, first half. That attempted cross was blocked by the body of Morris. Another throw-in taken quickly by Molloy. Dobson tried to pass it to Gervasi, and once again the Dolphins clear.
I do have to say, I don't think I've ever seen a number like number 80 for a college soccer player, especially a non-goalie.
They do have a 90 at goal, but I'm with you. Haven't seen it myself.
It's unique.
And Shehu wisely lets that roll into the arms of Thompson. 1 minute to go, first half from Dolphin Soccer Park. Thompson sends one just beyond the midfield stripe. That's headed in the air. Garcia looked to send it back toward the midfield stripe and couldn't get it there as the Lions intercepted. Molloy now working it toward the far side with 35 seconds to go in the half. Giordano played it up ahead. Now Laia Vittel working against Jamali Peterson. Goes down, no whistle. Throw in for the Dolphins, just over 20 seconds to go before halftime. Dolphins likely content to let the final seconds bleed off the clock here. The bench telling them to slow it down. Well, they stole a few extra feet on that throw-in for sure, as that's punted in the air, and that should do it for the first half. And we have reached halftime in this men's soccer season finale. Our score, 1-0 in favor of the College of Staten Island here at Dolphin Soccer Park. Both teams possibly needing a win for the postseason. Molloy cannot afford to lose. The Lions will look to get even. The Dolphins will look to protect this 1-goal lead. When we come back for half number 2, scoring update from Dobbs Ferry, 0-0, 10 minutes into the first half. Mercy playing Damon in a game that will have massive East Coast Conference playoff implications as well. Should the Wildcats win, they could find themselves in the playoffs. We will continue to keep you updated on that score when we come back from our halftime break. Dolphins lead it 1-0 through 45 minutes.
I feel like as a player, I've grown so much with this group and with my coaches, and my game has just elevated a lot more than it would have anywhere else, to be honest. So I'm just so grateful to be able to play with this team. And just being able to play in Division I soccer week in, week out, it's just getting the best of both worlds, having the opportunity to get a degree. You really have to appreciate what you have. And there's so many kids around the world that don't get these opportunities, so you have to take advantage of it for sure.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect. If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad's like, we have a prodigy. So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. I loved the team. They brought me in like I was one of their own. The professors help out so much. They actually care about developing me, not only so I just memorize the material and able to take a test, but am I able to apply the information. I don't feel nervous asking them, hey, I'm not going to be in class, can you send me something? And they're completely fine with it and they understand, which is the best part. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do. Be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I'm able to go out and become president of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. SAC is consistent of like a ton of different backgrounds, and we'll come up with cool ideas for like fundraisings and having the opportunity to raise money for Make-A-Wish and knowing it's going towards a good cause. Not only motivates me, but it motivates the whole community. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Dear soccer, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be in this position today.
Thank you for being something that is more than just my sport.
Soccer really is the beautiful game, and it will take you more places and give you more experiences than you could have ever dreamed of.
The people that I owe the most to are my teammates. They have been my crutch to lean on, shoulder to cry on, my hype woman in times of doubt, and my best friends day in and day out.
You get to wake up every day and play the sport you love at one of the highest levels at a prestigious university surrounded by your best friends. There is simply no better feeling.
You have given me my best friends, my most trusted mentors, and the most essential experiences of my young life. You are my community. With you, there is no race, no gender, no rich, and no poor. There is just a ball, 2 goals, and a common language.
Thank you for teaching me how to be a strong and courageous woman on and off the field.
Thank you for giving me hope for the future.
On the soccer field, I found a home. That is where I have always belonged.
I've learned a lot of things. I think one of the biggest things is how to cope with people, because I think that at the University of Virginia, and just as you keep moving on in life, you're going to keep meeting many more people. And I think all of the connections that I've made just at the University of Virginia they've become a big part of me. I think even the guys on the team, I consider some of them my family. I mean, I wake up in the morning at 6 in the morning, I'm spending time with them all the way up till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And I think that's one of the bigger things that I've learned is the relationships that I build with people, whether it be on the soccer field and off the soccer field, because even classmates at University of Virginia are some people I consider some of my best friends. And I definitely think connections with people and the bonds that you build with people that I know are going to carry on with me through my entire life, it's definitely some of the bigger lessons I've learned.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
I can't describe how much I learned as a player, but also as a human being, because you have to overcome challenges that you don't face in other areas. As part of the NCAA and obviously the college system itself, being a student athlete, there's so many challenges that not everybody else can relate to, and you have to try to excel in both areas. And now eventually you'll become a leader. Like in my case, I kind of had to step up into that role. And I feel like I've embraced that challenge, and now I love the spot where I am right now. I love how I've matured, become a leader, become the captain of the team, and hopefully I can help the rest of the guys win the Natty.
I was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with underprivileged people, and just seeing that they want the basic things that people get out of life. And if I can help in any way, that just kind of warms my heart. That's why I want to be a doctor, to serve those who have been dealt a bad hand. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. It was just because I bought into myself, because someone bought into me. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
Dear soccer, there are no words to describe my love, admiration, and appreciation for you. From the moment I was brought onto this earth, you were all I knew. You have been with me and have seen me from a young little boy in Brazil to a well-rounded man in America. From all the days and nights kicking the ball at walls, breaking everything at home and making my mom upset, sleeping with a ball under my arms, making fun of my dad for beating him by 1 goal, never imagined that he will let me in just to see me smile. You were there for me. You were there with me. When we are together, nothing else matters. It's me and you. It's like the whole world disappears. Everything goes away, and we just enjoy it. I have always given you my all, my very best. Soccer, you have brought me to a place outside of my comfort zone, gave me an opportunity to live out my dream, and introduced me to my mentors, my role models, and most importantly, my family. You have been my teacher, my biggest fan, my biggest critic, and my best friend. With you, I was able to accomplish milestones that I'll always be proud, experience moments that I'll never forget, make memories that I'll forever remember, and live the life that I always dream about. So thank you. Thank you for turning the little boy who used to break things into the house to the man that I am today. There are no words to describe my love, admiration, and appreciation for you, but there are words to describe the feelings that I have right now. playing in the Final Four with the greatest team, the greatest coaching staff, with the greatest university, and with the greatest fans. Nothing will ever compare or measure up to this moment. We're not done. I hope to still have you with me for a long time and live many more great memories together. Thank you, soccer.
Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, of course, in Staten Island, New York. We are about to commence the second half of this men's soccer competition between the home Dolphins and the visiting Molloy University Lions in a last game of the season must-win scenario for the Dolphins, and they are leading 1-0 thanks to a brilliant early goal from Miguel Espinoza, something you will likely be seeing again if you're watching this game. It's beautiful finish and great buildup as well. Since then, Lions have been putting on some pressure, but there have been chances both ways. Lions predicate their game on control of the ball and of the midfield, and they've been working on that. Staten Island happy to sit back a little bit, press when they can, and just counterattack, take advantage of the space that the Lions are leaving in possession. We talked in the first half about how we're going to clear up the playoff picture, and we have been able to do that. So we will share with you that information now. So Molloy is currently in the 6th seed before this game. If results go the Dolphins' way, they will make their way into that 6th and last seed of the playoffs, as we have a potential chance here. Uzo at the back post. Crucial defensive intervention from Ollie Murch. Great job from Espinoza winning the ball high up. Saw Uzo at the back post, tried to get the ball to his feet, but Murch was there to make sure Uzo didn't have a chance to slot away Dolphins' second goal of the game.
Well, that's one way to welcome me back to the booth. Big opportunity for the Dolphins to open up the second half as we have a flag for offside. So, Aaron, you were about to clear up the playoff picture. You can go right ahead and do that.
Yeah, so Staten Island, if they are able to win this game and get the result they need from Damon, get into that 6th seed, they will be playing the 3 seed, and that 3 seed would be, at this exact moment, UDC, but they are only 1 point ahead of Queens College, who are playing Dieuville today. So if Queens College were to get their expected win over Dieuville, they would hop up into the 3 seed, and the Dolphins would be heading to Flushing for their first playoff game.
Well, Aaron, we have a scoring update for the first time today, and we'll get you that after this attacking play. And Thompson has it. In a moment, you'll see it flash on your screen. First goal of the Damon Mercy match belongs to the Mavericks. They lead 1-0 late in the first half. So good news for the Dolphins, as Mercy has taken the 1-0 lead over Damon in that season finale for the Mavericks and the Wildcats. That ball will travel over the touchline. Goal kick Staten Island. And you have to wonder if that news could potentially bleed down to the sideline before this game is over. It doesn't change anything, but I'm curious if the team would even want to know. I think it's probably best not to know. Just go out there knowing you have to win and take care of business.
I think so, too. They don't want to affect their focus on the current task at hand. Just to be crystal clear, Joe, my understanding is that the games will be 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5.
That is correct.
Yes. So we will most likely, if we make it into the playoffs, be facing Queens College.
That was what I was trying to say before, but I misspoke no less than 3 times on my way to eventually getting it right. I had it backwards. The women's likely matchup would have been Mercy, and the men's likely matchup, should they win today, would be Queens. And how about that for a first-round matchup, a pair of CUNY schools? I think I'll certainly be on the road covering that game for us. Definitely expect to be in attendance for that one.
The in-season matchup we had against Queens was a home game. It was a loss, a 1-2 loss. It was a tough one for the Dolphins to take. It would be a good opportunity for them to get the Knights back
That first meeting will become a distant memory if the Dolphins win the postseason matchup, as that one's sent straight into the arms of Thompson.
One thing that Coach Kuba wanted to make very clear to me was that despite the lack of favorable results against top conference competition, they feel like they can compete with anyone, and they would welcome the opportunity to play any of those teams again.
The Dolphins, despite only having the conference win over Dieuville, have not had terrible results against conference opponents.
No.
We haven't seen many of those crooked numbers. The issue in a lot of their conference games has been having a tough time scoring, as the Lions look to make a bid for their first goal, and the Dolphins are able to clear it away. But there haven't been many games where the Dolphins have just been outclassed thoroughly by their opponents. They've just had a tough time finding the back of the net. And we've seen all season long, this team is a team that can score goals. And if they turn it on for the postseason, that's not a matchup any of those top-seeded teams wants to see come playoff time.
You couldn't be more right, Joe. College soccer, playoffs, anything can happen. Really, truly anything. I have been witness to many a playoff run, specifically in the Division III NESCAC Conference. Really good conference to watch if you're a fan of college soccer. But it's just like March Madness. If you get hot, you can take your team very far.
That ball sent up in the air. The only Dolphin in the area was Lopez, but Espinosa tracks it down. Espinosa working toward the center of the pitch, sends one toward goal. And Morris was making a run, but the ball beat him into the arms of Mejia.
It was a pretty ideal scenario for Espinosa. He created the space he wanted for the shot, had a nice lane, but just didn't strike the ball well. Didn't catch the laces enough. Very tame shot.
That was certainly a shot attempt by Espinosa, but Morris was awfully close, making a run down the middle of the pitch in an attempt for a potential redirect in front. Free kick awarded to Molloy just beyond midfield. Jacobson sends it a long way. Maurice off the volley, directed for Dobson, who then chips it up in the air outside of the box. Not sure that was his intent there. Leon avoids a couple of challenges and a third. And the Dolphins are able to clear. So that pass was intended for Maurice. It never got to him. Angulo off the head of Maurice. Angulo again tries to clear into the midfield. Here comes Broadhead. Dobson, in between a couple of defenders, gets away. No chance for him to turn. Blanco up ahead. Flores. Flores working against Asensio Cueva. He now moves toward the touchline. His cross was blocked. The ball goes straight up in the air. Shehu tries to clear. Got a piece. Shehu goes down, and that was last touched by Flores.
Great work right by Shehu. Never gave up on that play. Just kept going at it. And it's nice to see him. He's clearly working through some pain. Something going on with his wrist, I think. Or a finger or something like that.
It looked like when he tried to clear that ball and he slid down to the turf, he may have attempted to break his fall with that right hand. Going down into the turf with the base of your palm leading, that can be painful.
It's similar to planting awkwardly with your foot.
Yeah. I'm well acquainted with such a wrist injury, and they linger for a long time. In my case, 15 years.
Wrist is a very fickle joint.
Inside of 37 minutes remaining in the second half, Dolphins still lead at 1-0. They have 13 minutes before halftime in the Mercy Damon game, as the head referee is having a word with Amari Thompson.
He's being very proactive about potential time wasting, which you don't often see from referees.
The referee knows the situation here.
He's very aware. And I think this is good refereeing, just to be communicative to the goalkeeper and say, hey, I'm not going to take any of these time-wasting techniques. I'm going to cut it at the very start.
Thompson sends one out toward midfield, and Leon redirects it right into his own bench. Throw in Staten Island coming up. Looks like they're trying to fetch a soccer ball here. Both ended up in front of the trainer's table, which is all the way down the pitch. The Lions not exactly being cooperative here, though it looks like they will throw. The Molloy bench telling their players to get the ball in. A lot of time came off right there. Dolphins have no problem with that. There's a good defensive play. That was Dobson on the takeaway. Dobson trying to turn. Garcia would not allow it. And Garcia does a good job to get that toward Curlew. But Maurice comes away with the ball. Blanco looking to work past Angulo. Dobson redirects for Maurice. Leon into the box. Headed by Asensio Cueva onto the foot of Angulo. Now Uzo sprinting up the near side. Gets to that ball without a problem. He now works in toward the penalty area, trying to get the angle cross, and Morris was open. The ball just a bit out of his reach.
Wow, that was inches, Joe. That was inches, just a little bit off of that delivery, and we've got a 2-0 lead here for the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins, well aware of what that goal would have meant. Morris immediately put his hands on his head. That was so close. Uzo did a great job to get in position for the cross. And then Morris, with that run, nearly made it a 2-0 score, as it looks like Garcia now is down right at the midfield line. And the trainer is waved out onto the pitch.
Garcia, another player that had some health concerns. He was not playing at 100% for most of this season, playing at around 90, 85, but Coach Kuba told me today he felt like Garcia was finally at his maximum capacity. Unfortunately, he seems to have picked up a bit of a knock, so another health issue for the Dolphins to face.
Throw in for Molloy with an even 35 minutes on the clock from Dolphin Soccer Park.
I believe that is Jude Lee Deplin in. Yes, it is. Jude Lee Deplin in for Garcia.
Just a few moments, we have another scoring update from the game in Dobbs Ferry as that game is approaching halftime. And with just over 10 minutes remaining in the first half, Mercy now leads 2-0 over Damon. More good news for the Dolphins, as Thompson once again proves sure-handed. He snatches that one out of midair and denies a scoring chance.
That's really great to see for Dolphins fans because, as we've highlighted a few times this season, that's really been the only potential chink in the armor for Amari Thompson are those high balls. So really nice to see him claim that so confidently.
That ball sent over the far side. Throw-in coming up for the Dolphins as they will make a substitution. Naranjo into the game for Morris. Throw-in possessed by Molloy. Naranjo trying to get in there. We apologize for that technical issue there. Produced quite a loud pop in my headset. I'm not sure if that came over the broadcast.
My apologies, Joe.
Well, if you want to take responsibility for the sound mixing, go right ahead.
I absolutely will.
Let's just say Aaron may have flinched.
I have one irrational fear, and it can create some difficulties when we open up the windows.
All right. That corner results in a header out of play. That one not close to finding the intended target. And with that attempt, I got to look out toward the parking lot. You said it before, Aaron. This is the biggest crowd we've had this season, and the parking lot, certainly a testament to that. I have not seen this many cars in the parking lot here at Dolphin Soccer Park in quite some time. This game has drawn a very nice crowd. Perfect weather as well. Not so perfect for us, forcing the windows to be open. Bit warm, but the players on the pitch have to be comfortable on a day like today. You can't ask for better weather.
Truly. And for senior day as well, it's perfect.
Curlew up the far side for Deplin. And immediately sent back the other way by the Lions. Sent skyward by Flores. Lopez with a nice touch. Gets it over to Naranjo. Naranjo up toward Espinoza and off the head of Broadhead. That ball rolling toward the far side. Naranjo closing in. Jacobson gets it away. Uzo applying pressure, and Naranjo was able to knock it away from Harvey Chahal, but it will be a Lions throw-in in the corner. At least I thought so. The Dolphins are setting up right now for a throw. Naranjo will throw, so they were able to send that off of the attacker, and now a cross results in a clearance with the head by Broadhead. Ball rolling toward the near side, and it will roll over the touchline for a Dolphins throw.
Well, his head is certainly seeming to be pretty broad, Joe.
I had to restrain myself from saying something similar, and you went for it, Aaron. I appreciate it.
I live for those types of moments.
You and Nick Durst will get along very well then. Obviously, you've met Nick, but I don't believe you've called a game with him yet. And once you get that chance, you and him will have a field day.
I believe we've called 1 or 2 hockey games.
Right, I forgot. You have worked together calling some hockey.
Yeah, good guy, Nick. I like him.
Our audience will get a chance to hear a lot more from Nick come basketball season. We are just under 2 weeks away from tip-off of the men's basketball season at the Tournament of Heroes on Friday, November 10th. Angulo's free kick travels into the box. It's sent way up into the air by Molloy. Comes down on the foot of Blanco. And now Naranjo sends it back to Deplin. And that ball rolled over the touchline. Gervasi didn't think so.
That's a mental mistake by Gervasi because he could have just let that out for a throw-in. Instead, he decided to keep it in, but he decided too late. Dolphins here trying to work forwards. Pass from Espinoza. Didn't quite have it. And now Molloy looking to break.
Here come the Lions into the attacking third, but a strong tackle by Deplin. Nicely done by Deplin, and the Dolphins will try and turn this into an attacking opportunity. Uzo works back toward the center of the pitch, but Jacobson stayed with him.
That is so unlucky from Uzo, and he's frustrated. He had the option to pass that ball towards the middle. 3 runners, I think, coming in. He decided to try and cut back towards the end line, which you'd want him to be able to do because of his pace and shiftiness, but he just slipped.
Another scoring update from Dobbs Ferry. They're 5 minutes away from halftime, and it's 3-0. The Mavericks with a big lead. And the Dolphins, with a 1-0 lead here, have put themselves in good position if they can hold on. Mercy was a big favorite going into that game with Damon, but with all that's on the line for the Wildcats, you know they were going to show up and give it their best effort. Mercy has been really tough all season long, and they are showing us why today. Meanwhile, the deficit for Damon definitely matters to Molloy because Molloy can afford to play for a tie. If they score, they can afford to settle for a draw if Damon loses. So you'd have to believe that Molloy would want to know that score on their sideline. And if they know that Damon's down 3 goals in the first half and they get on the board, they might park the bus and force the Dolphins to try and beat them with a goal.
You're spot on there, Joe. And that's why this 1-0 scoreline can be deceiving. If it stays as is, it's good for the Dolphins, but it'll really be the next goal that decides everything, if there is one.
I don't think there's any question about that. Dolphins score the next goal, they are going to park everyone back and make it as hard as they can for the Lions to score. And the same goes for if Molloy scores. They will do the same. So I don't think you could have said it any better, Aaron. Next goal will determine the complexion of this game. The Dolphins do have the advantage of a lead right now, and we'll look for more. Here comes Curlew. Curlew working up the near side. Defender closely.
He's having himself a game today, Curlew. And perfect evidence of that is he was confident enough to rip that shot from distance.
With the defender closely pursuing him, Curlew got the shot off. Didn't quite get as much as he wanted on it. Deplin in the air toward Naranjo. Naranjo does a nice job to shield Leon off the ball. But Blanco got a foot in there, and Naranjo was dispossessed. Maurice back to Leon. And the Lions will take their time here.
It's good defending by Blanco on that play. Watching the ball and not Naranjo's movements.
That pass interrupted by Espinoza, and now the Dolphins might have a chance. Angulo wants Uzo. Uzo looked to cut off Jacobson, and we get a whistle. Foul against Jacobson just outside the corner of the penalty area, and now the Dolphins will be awarded a free kick with a chance to go ahead by 2.
I'm happy to say it 100 times. That's what the pace of Uzo can do to change a game. That pass was not in a great spot for Uzo. He was behind the defender for that, but he was just able to maneuver around the defender and get that foot in and get the touch. I actually didn't really think there was much contact for a foul call. I think Uzo just lost his footing and fell, but referee blew his whistle.
In real time, I didn't think they would get the whistle there, Aaron. I did not think that they'd call a foul in that spot. It's like a 50-50 play. It was tough to tell. The action took place quite far from us, but the Dolphins will look to capitalize. Espinoza, free kick saved. Meanwhile, another scoring update from Dobbs Ferry. It's now 4-0. Mercy over Damon. So the winner of this game will make the playoffs in all likelihood. And if it's a draw, Molloy would squeak into the postseason by virtue of a 1-point advantage in the standings.
I think Damon are going to start pleading mercy soon enough.
Mercy, regionally ranked, right on the outside. We're near the bottom of that regional ranking, but a regional ranking nonetheless for them. Top 25. They're labeled on the live stats coming into the day as number 25 ranked Mercy.
They are named Mercy, but they do not know Mercy.
They've shown none in the first half, that's for sure. They've scored 3 goals in the last 8 minutes. That ball cleared over the fence. Corner kick coming up for the Lions. At the very least, if you're Molloy, if you do know the score in that game, it's a bit of a relief, because in this game, you now know that you only need 1.
And as we've discussed, I am sure that they are not aware of the score, but they'll be happy to see that after the game's over, should they get anything other than a loss out of this.
I think Molloy needs to be aware, and if you're the Dolphins now, I think you need to be aware as well, because it's a 4-0 game. As Thompson got a mid on that one, punched it away. The Lions do keep it down around the box. Dobson chips it in the air. Thompson with a decisive punch, two-handed, and that is sent over the frame and into the netting behind goal. But I think if you're the Dolphins now, this is the time where you'd like to know the score, because if you're aware that Molloy is willing to settle for a tie and do everything they can to get one goal, I think it benefits you to know that. Because if Molloy needs 2, that changes things completely. If Molloy needs to win, that changes things.
I think you make a good point. What I would say is, from the perspective of someone who's been on those sidelines, I think from a mentality standpoint, they're probably trying to shield themselves from those results and just try and focus on getting this win.
I think you're right. I think that is what they are doing. But I think we're at a point now where the game is 4-0 and there's only 22 minutes left here. You don't want to distract. But if you're a coach, I think you need to know in order to strategically plan how it is you'll go about coaching these last 22 minutes on both sides. And I have a feeling there's someone down there who knows. Someone.
Hopefully. It's the sort
of
of
players
thing.
probably don't know. I don't think they should know. The players are out there to win the game regardless.
Yeah. It's the sort of thing where if we were D1 or if this was professional, they would definitely know, but it's a little bit more uncertain in these kinds of conditions.
With every passing year, that is changing more and more.
Mm-hmm.
That ball sent up the pitch. Dolphins make first contact, and now CSI look to generate some attacking play. Espinoza. Dispossessed. Here comes Dobson up the center of the pitch. He finds Cox. His shot is blocked. That ball sent toward Thompson once again. He has it out of the air.
I do want to bring some attention to Miguel Espinoza, who has just taken a seat on the turf and tossed his shin guard in frustration. He does not seem to be particularly healthy.
Dolphins will need to find a substitution for him. Jamali Peterson looks like he's getting set to check in. Peterson got in late in the first half. We saw both he and Uzo come onto the pitch for the final 10 minutes, or at least at some point around that mark in the first half. And Peterson will join Uzo at one of the forward spots. Just under 21 minutes to play from Dolphin Soccer Park. Thompson sends that one toward the near side. Peterson got a piece, and he is quickly whistled for a foul.
He's shrugging his shoulders, saying, I don't get it.
Free kick taken by the goalkeeper, Mejia. That ball sent up the pitch by Murch. First to make contact was Maurice. That one crossed toward Thompson, and Thompson got there ahead of Dobson.
If I was Thompson, I'd be flopping on the ground every time I get the ball in my hands. It's a classic goalie move to waste time.
Perhaps he feels a bit apprehensive about doing that after the talking to from the official earlier. And once again, we apologize, as it appears that men's soccer's video coordinator did not set the stream long enough. We had this issue earlier in the season. We'll get the video up for you as quickly as possible.
Meanwhile, we will continue the broadcast in radio-like fashion. Ball taken down by Cox in the midfield. Lions spread the ball to their far left.
We'll be back in a few seconds. Should be.
Lions looking to build some possession. They brought it back over to the right side. Here's Koch.
All right, we're back. So each team creates their own streams via our Huddle Focus automated camera for home games. And early in the season, I realized that a couple of the men's soccer games weren't extended far enough. I thought we had corrected that moving forward from that point, but these last 2 games, we've lost the feed for a few seconds. We got it back quickly today, though. It's very odd. You can't immediately get the feed back via the Huddle website. You have to use the app. So when we had prolonged outages of our video, that was because we were trying to access our feed control through the website. But we're good to go the rest of the way. We'll be with you for the remainder of this game from Dolphins Soccer Park. Our audio is not compromised, however. Here come the Lions, working into the midfield. And Naranjo and Leon get tangled up there. You have to think there's going to be a card somewhere here. Now, Leon wasn't shown a yellow earlier, was he?
I don't believe so. But either way, I believe that yellow card was on Naranjo.
I thought they pointed to both players, but I could be mistaken.
That could be true as well.
Naranjo's down. Looked like frustration got the better of both players there.
We talked about Naranjo's health and how he's had some difficulties finishing games when he has come back from injury. So he's going to be battling for the remainder of this game.
And again, Thompson tested on a ball in flight. He comes through, but it looks like Leandro Angulo may have paid for that effort. He's down on the pitch. This has been a brutal game for the Dolphins in terms of player injuries. We've had a lot of stoppages in this one, and we've seen some key Dolphins leave the pitch in a great deal of discomfort already.
It's a difficult battle towards the end of the season. Playing a lot of minutes, get a lot of knocks, but these players wouldn't trade their spot on the field for anything. So they're trying to work through their injuries, and sometimes it just keeps coming back to bite you. That's what the Dolphins are experiencing right now.
Off the throw, Molloy has possession in the midfield. Just over 17 and a half minutes to go from Dolphins Soccer Park. CSI leads 1-0. The game between Mercy and Damon going in favor of both of these teams right now. Mercy beginning to run away with it late in the first half. They've reached halftime with the Mavericks leading 4-0. If Mercy is able to close out that win, either of these teams will qualify for the postseason with a victory. The Dolphins need a victory to qualify. Molloy could settle for a draw and get in. Very awkward dynamic for the final minutes of a game where one team can afford to draw on the last day of the season. The other team needs to win. You don't get many opportunities to call a game like this.
No, you do not.
How about Peterson there leaping over Ollie Murch? Murch did draw the foul. Murch sends the free kick toward the top of the box, and Thompson again showing off the hands as he leaps into heavy traffic and grabs that ball out of the air.
He's been excellent in that facet of the game today. Really wonderful to see. Peaking at the right moment.
Molloy will throw once again. A long throw into the attacking third, contacted by Steven Flores. Leandro Angulo did remain in the game. He appears okay as he intercepts that pass. Uzo, not given any room to turn, gives it up to Peterson. Peterson. Across midfield, Peterson gains a step. Peterson for Asensio Cueva. Asensio Cueva works around a challenge, but coming over to help was Sebastian Cook. And the Lions are able to clear it. That ball bounces over the head of Dobson. Flores with with a nice job to send that right toward Curlew. Asensio Cueva finds Peterson, and Peterson gets all ball there as Curlew is seated at midfield now.
Uh-oh.
Clock stopped at 14:59.
I think he's just got a cramp. That's what it's looking like to me.
Well, I mentioned we have great weather today, but I would go as far as to say it's hot outside. And that certainly lends to cramping for the players out there on the pitch. Now, it looks like replacing Curlew will be Miguel Espinoza, who left with an apparent injury earlier.
Believe it or not, Joe, my weather app is telling me that we're at 80 degrees.
Wow. I certainly won't argue.
That is just unbelievable for late October in New York.
In 8 years of covering CSI Dolphins soccer, I'm not sure we've ever had an 80-degree day this late in the season. I certainly welcome it, but definitely not familiar territory for me. I think the press box era has made poor weather conditions much more manageable, but when it comes to heat, sometimes it's a bit hotter up here. We're surrounded by metal. The sun shines in through the back window. We're not really shaded that well, especially in the afternoon.
Sometimes this thing feels like it's designed to generate heat.
I thought it was designed as a haven for insects. A lot of those as the Dolphins are whistled for a foul. You've seen nothing yet. Just wait until you get in the baseball press box. It's worse. Tyler can't fathom worse, but we have a nice hive outside the door.
We've got a world ahead of you, Tyler.
Aaron's thinking to himself, no need for me to work those games.
Oh, I'll get on the baseball games if I can. I love some baseball.
It's good to hear. Lions with 13:40 to keep their season alive with a goal. Lions cannot afford to lose this game. The Dolphins hoping to clinch a spot in the East Coast Conference postseason for the first time in program history. And they are 13 and a half minutes away from doing just that.
The advantageous aspect of this current game state is that Lions are going to have to push more and more as the clock ticks. And with that, they're going to be surrendering more and more space in their defense. So if CSI is able to win the ball and break, they're going to find themselves with a lot of room to operate going forwards.
We're now under 13 minutes to go from Dolphins Soccer Park. Lopez for the near side. Peterson there waiting. He has some space. Peterson working in toward the penalty area. Peterson tries to split two defenders. Somehow, he was able to glide across the turf. I know you saw that, Aaron. That was impressive. I'm not sure I've seen that before.
No, me neither. It was very smooth. And then both Peterson and the player that came in and made the tackle, which I think was Murch, they both slipped at the same time. It was kind of funny to watch.
Peterson light on his feet right there. I think what happened is he left his feet and he dragged his toe along the turf, but it looked like he was gliding on ice right there. Can't say I've seen that before. This is Murch.
Could we see CSI Dolphins on ice? Is that the next big thing?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure of more than one hockey rink on the island.
Surely there's got to be a few.
It's only one that I know of. Tyler thinks there are two. And a yellow card is issued to Jamali Peterson for that challenge. Peterson can't believe it. What'd you think, Aaron?
It's a difficult call, Joe. I
think it's because he received two fouls already.
You think so?
That's why.
You think there's a bit of accumulation? That's certainly an important factor. I think as well, despite the fact that Peterson did get the ball, he went in studs up. Studs went in first, and that's textbook aspect of a foul call and a yellow card as well. Reckless endangerment.
11:40 to go. Free kick, Molloy. Thompson again in the air, soaring. And he's able to get there.
I can't begin to tell you how difficult it is to keep a hold of the ball when you're twisting in the air like that. It's difficult. It's so hard. And he is doing a fantastic job of that.
And I think Jacobson just got a yellow card.
I don't know if that was appropriate. He was just kind of going up for the ball like any player would.
I couldn't believe there was a yellow on that sequence. And both players have a right to the ball there. That's well outside of the goaltender's box, and you can't just move out of the way as an attacker. You have to go for the ball.
Yeah, he was just competing for it like you would any other header.
And I don't think he did anything to disrupt the landing. I mean, that's a tough yellow card.
Well, if results hold, it won't matter.
It's a good point. Need to leave it all out there on the pitch. That ball chipped in the air and then headed by Blanco. Maurice is able to get it over to Gervasi. He sends one toward the opposite side of the box, and the Dolphins are able to clear.
That was a really nice header back across. Fortunate for the Dolphins that no one was on the other end.
Molloy now works it back into the attacking third. Gervasi not close on the cross. Well over the frame, out of play, and we are inside of 10 minutes to go.
Like I said, Lions are starting to throw bodies forwards. A lot of numbers getting into the box. This is potentially where you see negative effects of having a player like Steven Flores play center back, Joe. I mean, he's been great. This is nothing to speak negatively on his play. His play has been wonderful, but one simple fact is that he's short. He's 5'5". You don't tend to see center backs of that size because you want them to be able to command the airspace in the 18-yard box. And if the Lions are throwing in big bodies, tall players, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
That ball headed into the midfield circle by Molloy. Espinoza with a nice ball for Peterson. It hits him in stride. Good first touch, shot blocked. Espinoza waiting. He is on sides. Espinoza back to goal, tried the heel pass and could not get it to Naranjo. That was a good idea from Espinoza. He had him open. Espinoza for Angulo. Just over 9 minutes to play now. Naranjo for Angulo. Angulo working toward the corner. Leon, the closest defender. Angulo for Naranjo. Naranjo looking to turn. Has Espinoza waiting for a pass. Miguel wants the ball. Does not get it. Now Angulo able to keep it in. He thought about a cross. Angulo hesitates. Works up the far sideline against Blanco and is dispossessed there.
This is dangerous. You put your center defensive mid out of position.
Angulo getting up a bit slowly, but Uzo does a nice job, and the Lions are awarded possession. Dolphins bench can't believe it, and Naranjo takes a seat.
I don't know if he's going to continue, Joe.
He's grabbing at the leg again.
He's had problems. Last home game against UDC, similar sort of scenario. Went down holding his leg, had to come out of the game, did not come back. It is so difficult with a muscle injury in your leg. It can linger, it can come back. You never really know when it's fully healed.
Dolphins bench unhappy with the handling of this injury timeout by the head official. Clock is stopped at 8:19. And Naranjo is not the only one who's getting worked on right now. I think that's Leandro Angulo getting stretched out. Working on his left leg. Now they're working on both legs.
It's the most classic stretch in soccer. You'll see it at least once a game.
Shehu and Curlew helping out Angulo. As Will Trees will check in. So Naranjo is out. Trees is in. Angulo back to his feet. He was taking advantage of the opportunity to get some stretching in. And when the action resumes, Molloy will possess it. Lions running out of time.
Trees also made a substitute appearance in the Dolphins' last home game against UDC at left back, and he played very well. So expect good things from Trees.
Takeaway by Uzo. Here comes Espinoza. Does he have one more highlight in him? He moves in toward the touchline, and Jacobson stays with him. He does keep the ball in play. Espinoza now trying to kill some time in the corner, and it will be Molloy ball. Throw coming up.
It was the right play by Espinoza. He didn't have an angle for a shot. He didn't have the proper support. So it was a good idea in principle to bring the ball to the corner. He just couldn't win the throw-in.
That ball contacted by Curlew, but it goes straight onto the foot of Leon. Jacobson for Murch. Long ball into the box, rolling toward the touchline. It's a foot race. At the very least for the Lions, they are able to avoid conceding a goal kick. Dolphins will throw from the far side. And there was a flag as well, so the flag for offsides will give the Dolphins a free kick instead.
This is tense, Joe. This game is on a knife's edge.
Well, the clock was stopped, and the Dolphins bench didn't like it. Can't say I blame them. I'm not sure why they stopped the clock there. And protest is going to earn Alex Kuba a yellow card. And you know the officials had enough. He walked up to him and emphatically showed him the yellow, but he has a case there. I'm not sure why they stopped the clock.
I'm a little more understanding of it, and this referee is clearly very aware of the situation and doesn't want clock time to be wasted, as it shouldn't be. And when you have a moment of confusion where you know the clock is going to be ticking a lot and there's going to be time between the stoppage of play and the resumption of play, it happens, especially late in games.
Dolphins will throw. Clock now inside of 7 minutes. Both teams playing with their season on the line here. Should be a thrilling 5 minutes from Dolphin Soccer Park. One of these teams will head to the postseason. Deplin will clear it over the far side. The Lions will throw. Broadhead currently the player positioned to take the throw. Looks like Molloy going to send everyone into the penalty area here. That one rolled into a dangerous spot, but we have a foul called against the Lions. I think they're going to get Maurice for a push there.
You know, despite what you may or may not think about this referee's decision, he's been very decisive.
No doubt. I think you're absolutely right.
And not a lot of referees are like that, so I praise him for that quality.
Foul called against the Lions. And it's funny you mentioned that, Aaron, because as soon as that whistle came in just moments ago, the fans here in attendance, the CSI supporters specifically, way to go, ref. Great call. It's a great call in the opinion of the spectators, as long as it goes in favor of the home club.
That's right.
We're impartial. If it's the right call, it's a great call. As Uzo looked to move in, that's a good sliding tackle from behind. Uzo wanted the foul, but to get that call late in the game with both teams' seasons on the line, really tough.
Yeah. Dolphins players are shouting for it, but it seemed like a good tackle to me. Seems like he got the ball, so.
Dolphins do earn a corner. They will likely take their time working off of this corner kick.
I don't think they're going to deliver this one, Joe. They're just going to hold it.
That is exactly what they will do. Espinoza looked to work his way between two defenders. And the Lions now moving forward. There's a strong tackle by Asensio Cueva. Nice play in the midfield to cut off any potential scoring chance. There's another good tackle at the other end. That time, Leon took it away from Uzo, but now Uzo is played through by Espinoza. Uzo moving in, the shot is saved. Espinoza there, but it's cleaned up by Mejia. So close. Dolphins look to put this game away right there. But Dennis Mejia keeps the Lions season alive with a huge save.
Really nicely worked by the Dolphins. Uzo picks up the ball in a favorable area, plays it into Espinoza in the middle. Espinoza, great understanding of his teammates, but the finish had to be better. On his weak foot, he could not generate the power.
Dolphins throw in. Molloy tried to signal otherwise, but there was no way in that situation. We approach 3 minutes to go now. And they've stopped the clock again to allow for a Dolphin substitution. So inside of 5 minutes, if the Dolphins make a substitution, the clock will be stopped. Dolphins are protesting that a player standing at midfield was not an incoming substitution, so that the clock should not have been stopped. Have to admit, I thought the Dolphins were making a substitution as well. Sometimes the players do arrive at midfield with the pinion. In that particular situation, the player standing there was not entering the game. How about that tackle by Deplin, sending that ball emphatically into the fence. Throw in now for Molloy. Just over 2.5 to play. Comes down to this, Aaron. The Lions need a goal to keep their season alive and move on to the playoffs. The Dolphins need to protect this lead for 2:25. As that shot hooked, hit off the bar, supporting the netting behind goal, and traveled into the parking lot off the foot of Laia Vittel. And that's a big misfire from Molloy.
I would categorize that as questionable decision-making at best. He had space, definitely could have delivered the ball into the middle of the box. Instead, decided to lash at it.
Good touch by Peterson to redirect for Espinoza. Under 2 minutes to play. Dolphins scored within the first 5 minutes. Espinoza with remarkable dribbling. I don't think there's any other way to describe it. As Espinoza with the slide tackle from behind now needs to be careful.
I mean, that was crazy that he managed to get away with that. Usually one of the worst decisions you can make is to lunge at someone from behind like that.
Long ball up the pitch appears to be a good one. Thompson there again, and he's got it.
There's the flop.
Thompson has one save, but he has done so much more than the stat sheet will indicate when this game is over.
Absolutely. His effect has been incredible, and I just want to point out that the exact dynamic we played out earlier just happened. Thompson went down to flop on the ground and hold the ball, and the referee immediately ran over and said, no, you get up.
Can't blame him for trying.
No, you cannot.
Under a minute to play. The CSI supporters beginning to make some noise. Many of them likely know the current score in the Mercy Damon game. And chance of Let's Go Dolphins break out as the clock is stopped again. And Deplin is shown a yellow card. The Dolphins bench is not happy, to say the least. The referee issuing this booking. 33.9 on the clock. Don't see that much ahead of a throw-in. That ball ends up in the Dolphins bench. Molloy earns a throw. This is their final opportunity. Deplin, long clearance. And that should do it. Mejia has to wait for one of his teammates to throw it in. He wants it. Mejia is going to send this one a long way up the pitch. The wind knocks it down. And the spectators engage in the countdown as the Dolphins pick up a huge win in their season finale. If the 4-0 score holds in the Mercy Damon game, CSI will be headed to the postseason for the first time in the Division II history of the men's soccer program as they knock off Molloy University by a final score of 1-0.
What a moment for this program. Unbelievable. This is a team that 8 days ago was without a conference win, and here they are, most likely having snuck into the playoffs. I don't know what more you could possibly ask for. They had this goal of getting into the playoffs. They felt they had the quality to be a playoff team in this conference, and here they are. And what a way to do it. What a goal from Espinoza. Asserted their dominance from the very beginning, kept that lead, held onto it, got a much-needed clean sheet. Just a perfect day for the Dolphins overall. Unfortunately, the women's team couldn't make a similar thing happen, but you have to be happy for CSI Dolphins men's soccer for what they've been able to accomplish.
And as for Molloy, their push for a spot in the postseason comes up just short in their season finale. With this loss, Molloy has been eliminated from playoff contention. They come up 2 points short of the Dolphins as CSI will finish the season with 9 points. Molloy will finish the season with 7 points. Damon now trails 5-0 in their game against Mercy. So Damon will see their season come to an end as well, barring a miraculous comeback against the Mavericks. And for the Dolphins, their likely opponent, as we mentioned earlier, would be Queens College. We don't have the score for you in the Queens-DeUville game yet. I'll see if I can pull that up very quickly. Perhaps, Aaron, you can pull up that score. And that's how we will sign off from today's broadcast here on CSI Sportsnet. As for the men's soccer playoff game, you'll be able to catch that game on the ECC network. That will be a Queens home game, so you'll be able to follow that game on the Queens College ECC network page. And Aaron, I have the score in the Queens game. It is 4-0 Queens over DeUville. If Queens holds on, that is CSI's first round opponent. They will head to Flushing in the middle of next week for a round one matchup against Queens. Congratulations to head coach Alex Kuba, the men's soccer coaching staff, and this team. They are headed to the playoffs. Aaron, for you and I think it's a job well done this season. We're signing off for the final time. Thank you for everything you've contributed to CSI Sportsnet this year. I know the coaches love talking with you, and I know the players enjoyed listening to your calls all season long. Once again, our engineer is Tyler Clark. Sonatu Afriju also engineering for us this year. Nick Bavona joined me on the call for 2 games as well. We thank him for his contributions all season long. And for all of us, Aaron, they'll hear from us again come basketball season. That gets started in just under 2 weeks. So for one final time, this has been Joe Foreman for Aaron Cohen and Tyler Clark. We thank everyone who tuned in to our men's soccer season finale. The Dolphins are headed to the postseason with a 1-0 victory over Molloy University. Be sure to catch that game in the middle of the week over at the Queens College landing page, all on the ECC network. We will see you for basketball season on November 10th.